I'll talk about the robotics, and we saw how these robots are replacing surgeons or helping the surgeons. And these can help us. You can see the preciseness is so good that obviously as the surgeons are using it, endoscopists also want to use robotics. We saw Dr. Bhandari to do ESD, but as compared to surgeon who has got two hands, we are supposed to do ESD or a dissection using one hand, and that is a big problem. That problem is very difficult to achieve the surgeon's preciseness. That's why we need some solutions. We need solution. Of course, a lot of things are being done on imaging side, how to diagnose these cancer early, but we are also having tissue retraction and dissection device which allows us to expose the submucosa while we are doing the resections. Also, we want, once we have done resection, we want something to help us in suturing. So these two methods of retraction and suturing are being done by robotics nowadays, and we have a lot of platforms. The robotics initially was used for electromagnetic control, electromechanical control of the knobs to help us navigating. Also, there were automatic locomotion when the scope can go automatically from the anus to cecum, and you don't have to push. But these two things were not very popular because they could not replace an expert. Though Novice, it was better than Novice, but robotic driven instrumentation like master slave system, or I'll talk about these, have has now been very popular. And lately, robotic endoscopic platform are of two types. One is robotic add-on device, like you are doing ESD, but suppose there is a add-on device required for retraction, it comes like robot for surgical endoscope, which I'll talk about. Other platforms are very cumbersome. They are usually prototypes and not commercially available, majority of them, but let's see what are those. Obviously, once we see our laparoscopic surgeon doing such dissection, endoscopists are also, they also want to mimic this type of scenario where somebody can come and hold. As I said, we are only one arm, we need two arms. So flexible endoscopic platforms started to come up. The first one were mechanical. Mechanical means they are not automated, but they are wired. So like Endo Samurai from Olympus, DDES from Boston, and these diluminal EIP, they are mechanical. Once you have to pull a knob or push a button to do the retraction. And majority of them are not very popular. The next phase came when it was replaced by motor, like robotics. And most important is the master and slave platform, and also the Strass platform, which I'll talk about. This is the example of a mechanical platform which allows us to do dissection. You can see there is a balloon there, and then there is a space, and then there is a retracting wire, and then you are doing a ESD. You can use these mechanical platforms. But these mechanical platforms are very cumbersome, and they usually provide a single arm. We don't want a single arm, we want multiple arms. So that's why the first work was done in between the Chinese University of Hong Kong and AIG in 2010 to 12, when Professor Sidney Chung from Chinese University of Hong Kong, when he was eating a dinner, he saw how a crab can be, the mechanism of crab can be used in this dissection device, where one arm of the crab used for grasping, other is diathermy. This is the rough diagram which Sidney Chung made while having a dinner. And then he made this with the company from engineers from Singapore. They made a prototype device using endoscope with a grasping and cutting arm, which can be used as a master and slave. And they also collaborated with us. So this is the doctor who is working on the console, who is doing the dissection, and Dr. Reddy is just holding the scope. So this doctor can be anywhere in the world. It can be in the room or in the same country or in the different continent. He can dissect that as long as there is a doctor who can put the scope where the lesion is. So this was the first robotic paper which came from India and also from the CUHK. 3 patients were done from our institute, 2 from Hong Kong, and we achieved 100% success. And the editorial written by Robert Haas in Clinical Journal of Gastroenterology Hepatology was that robotic endoscopy, a small case series, but a giant step for endoscopy. So this was the beginning. And as I said, this is the endoscope, and then this is the distal end of the endoscope which a doctor will put. So 2 operator, one operator will put the endoscope, and the second operator will have a control on the console which can control these 2 arms. This is the grasping, and then you can see this is the console, and here is the doctor which is bringing the scope to the desired polyp. And once the setup is done, it is easy for the doctor at the console to do the dissection. This was the master and slave, but then subsequently this master-slave word was removed, and endo-master-ease system was introduced, and Dr. Philip Chu started this work, and they independently designed a built-in endoscopic image. There was a built-in endoscopic imaging system, 2 working channels for 2 robotic arms. And this is the thing which is different from the initial prototype where the double channel scope is there, and you can do similar like retraction and dissection. So again, this is the work is being done, and it brings the room setup is like this. Surgeon will see the monitor and have the workstation which is controlled to the robotic, and this doctor, which may be a less experienced doctor, not very good in ESD, but he can pass the scope to the desired place, and this doctor can perform the ESD like this. So he will have a similar appearance like laparoscopic dissection, and this arm will retract it, and this arm will dissect. So there is a good triangulation, and you can do the procedure very, very quickly. You can see there is no need for a gravity or anything. You can just do the dissection like a surgeon, and you can subsequently close it. So this was the first human trial using this EndoMaster. 45 patients were chosen, 53 successfully completed. Majority were in either rectum or in sigmoid, and the en bloc resection was achieved in 82%, and the lesion size was around 15 to 9 centimeter. Majority were around 3.5 centimeter. R0 resection was achieved in majority. Perforation was seen in 1, bleeding was seen in none, and they could close in 72 cases of all the ESD. So this was the first human trial on EndoMaster. Subsequently, there are other robotic systems being developed across the world. This is the Meadow Robotics, and this is known as Flex Robotics, which has got a longer flexing area, but the concept remains same. Right arm will be the dissecting arm, the left arm will be like more of a grasping arm. So this was initially developed to tackle the oropharynx, and subsequently adopted to the colonic ESD, including anus, rectum, and distal colon. And this randomized control trial using this system from Medtronic showed that en bloc resection was much better, and even the perforation rate was much lesser, procedure time was lesser, and NASA TLX score is nothing but to show mental exhaustion, physical exhaustion score was much less if you do robotic ESD as compared to the conventional ESD. So this was about the dissection. The second step which we want is suturing, because suturing greatly enhanced by robotics, because they have got the perfect arms, two arms which can suture. And once this comes to clinical practice, we can manage many GI emergency like massive bleeding from peptic ulcer, a GI perforation or fistula, anastomotic leakage. Morbid obesity can be easily managed by sleeve gastrectomy or a full thickness resection. And this is being developed. You can see these are the suturing devices which can be easily managed by a robot, where there is a rotating arm which holds a needle, and then this needle can run through submucosa. Even full thickness serosa to serosa approximation can be done using this type of switch needles. And because the last case we saw, there one was the grasping and one was the cutting, and here one is the holder and another is the needle exchange device, which can completely cause the suturing nice mucosa to mucosa. You can see complete suturing can be done, and once this comes into clinical practice, it will change. So this was about the platforms, which is very cumbersome, very difficult to buy, which is maybe far away from the clinical practice. But what is easy is add-on. Like you are doing an ESD, and there is suddenly requirement of a traction, and these traction can be like over the scope tractions in many, many ways, like push, pull up and down, lift up and down, roll, grip. Many, many procedures can be done by using this, and these are clinically available now, and we have used in many of our cases. This is you do the ESD like a normal ESD or a third space endoscopy, and suddenly you require a traction. The third arm will come from the above the scope, and then you can do the dissection. So this is the add-on device, and you can see here also we are doing one of the demonstration here when there is a gastric ESD being done, and now you are not able to go into the submucosa, and you can have a grasping device which is out of the scope therapeutic channel, and then you can have a many permutation combination. You can see how this being flexed, and the submucosa is being exposed. Very easy to do. Anybody can do ESD once you have such robotic arms which are add-on, and they are not very costly as compared to the full platform. You are quite expert to do ESD when you don't require robots every time, and then whenever it is required, you can replace this. And such type of big lesions can also be managed by, as you see, we are starting our conventional ESD, but subsequently when we require, it's an add-on robotic arm which help us in exposing, because this is a heavy tumor, and these are the remote control. You can just apply the grip and then subsequently expose the submucosa and keep on the dissection going. And you can see usually the last part of ESD is so difficult, but if you have such robotic arms which exposes the submucosa, keep the tumor away, you can finish this procedure very, very quickly. So this is about the add-on devices, but ultimately, as I said, robotic endoscopy is still a small case series publications, but once they comes to practice, they will be a major boost for all of us. But there are hurdles for a robotic system. It requires multidisciplinary R&D effort. In many very places, there is no available engineers which can come to our endoscopy suite and discuss with us what are our requirements. There is strong clinical evidence over current procedures. The pricing appetite for hospital is also important, health economic reimbursement. But ultimately, if we want, we can go ahead because we are only limited by what we can imagine. If we imagine, we can still do it. And many people have come up with these and made our ESD third space procedure much, much easy now. Especially my personal experiences with add-on robotics, which is excellent. I think with few more R&D, I think we will have these robotic platforms available in day-to-day clinical practice. Thank you very much for your patient hearing. Thank you.